Greetings, everyone. Been a while, but I'm back with another live edition of the Narrator Podcast, and I'm your host, Halsey Allen. Narrator Podcast is the home of positivity, peace, reciprocity, original people peace, original people reciprocity, and positive frames about reference about original people and original culture. So now that you know that, like I said, welcome. It's been a minute, had some technical difficulties and some personal things going on, but here I am consistent with a live edition of the Narrator Podcast. I got some good things to share with you today. And I don't think I've gone this on live this early in quite a while. So I had some free time today. I was just thinking to myself, why not do an upload? So for those that don't know, when I go live, I'm basically just sharing positive frames of reference about our people and our culture via articles that I've come across on my platforms, and then delivering commentary on anything currently trending, anything, breaking news, whether globally or some things specifically going on within our community. Okay, cool. So before I dive into the content, I'm going to bring my new listeners tuning in right now on this live broadcast up to speed on my content, my platform, and everything I'm trying to accomplish here in this digital space. So I'm going to give you new listeners a brief overview of my content. My narrators, they already know the demonstration. They already know, what my platform is about and what type of content they'll be enjoying this evening when they're listening to me. So first of all, let's start at the name. The Narrator Podcast. What does that suggest? What's behind the name? So I named the podcast the Narrator Podcast because the media weaves a false narrative about original people and original culture. So what I want to do is design a platform where I'm correcting or setting right, the images, the false narrative they project about our people and our culture. Thus, the Narrator Podcast. That's where I was going with the title. They intentionally misrepresent us, primarily for profit, to generate news, to financially profit from our misfortune as a people. They also do this to market us in a certain light to other people outside of our culture. So dominant society can feel dominant over us by projecting us in a certain light and making us seem a certain way to people, who do not know of us, don't know any of us, and are not privy to our culture. They want to basically put out negative frames of reference about us, is what I'm saying. And again, so what I'm trying to accomplish on my platform is to put out positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, ultimately changing the narrative. Now, something else on my platform, I refer to our people as original versus black. It's not that I'm ashamed of being black. I'm quite proud of my heritage. It's just the way the word is ingrained into us and the definition that is taken on via the colonizers. See, to fully understand, you got to first understand we was on this planet 5,000 years before anybody. So in that time span, we originated all things. We originated spoken language and written language, and we came up with the word black. Its original definition was one that reflects positivity, or that reflects wealth, financial wealth, spiritual wealth, spirituality, all things positive, good fortune, God, higher creator, higher power, whatever you call yourself believing in. Everything positive was attached to the word black. But then, people that came along that didn't look like us, they reworked the definition of the word and recorded it down as, to symbolize death, destruction, chaos, disease, pestilence, misfortune, and the end of all things. So, you black out, when the screen goes black, it's done, it's over, it's a wrap. But in addition to that, when they tweaked the definition of the word black, they also went out of their way to try to associate specifically our people with the word black, because when they record it in the dictionary, it's the only color in the color spectrum that denotes origin. So they'll go out of their way to be like, a dark-skinned people. Some versions be like a dark-skinned people of or originate and have aboriginal, descent of Africa, or, people possessing a dark pigment descending from Africa, so on and so forth. And then they'll start with negative example sentences, negative, not parts of English language describing how to properly use the word black. And it's all negative. It all reflects something, dark, misfortunate, dirty, hygienically dirty, the end of all and ending all things, sickness, just everything in lack is linked to the word black, the way they have it, the way they, with their new definition of it. And my assessment of that, us as a people, especially if you're looking at us here in America, we're acting out, it's been ingrained for us to act out their definition of the word black. You know what I mean? So they have knowledge of the power of words. They know once you release from being around us, when you release something out of your mouth, you're bound to it. Whatever you release out of your mouth manifests into reality. That's how you create things, by speaking them into existence. So what they've done is, basically commandeered that word and tried their best to, make it mean something negative when you release it out of your mouth. And as to back up my theory about that, just look at us, our state as a people here in America and abroad. Look how far we've advanced. Look at our living conditions. Look at how much we're persecuted, how much we're hated, how little opportunity we're given here in America and abroad. From saying the word black, their definition of it, because it's ingrained into us to live out their definition of it. Now, look in that same dictionary, look up the word original. You'll notice there's no negative connotation surrounding the word original. The original really just hints at first, many cases the best. Nothing trumps the original. Nothing's better than the original. Everything's pale in comparison to the original. And like I said, we were originally on this planet 5,000 years before everybody. We originated, pretty much everything. We originated written language, spoken language. We originated the measurement of time. We originated mathematics, science, medicine, education. Like, we have invented pretty much every pivotal invention that's shaped civilization as we know it. So I feel, original is better befitting to describe our people versus black. And then not only that, the word original, it also, acts as a binding agent to unify us, because there's many different types of us scattered all throughout the globe. And we all, have different pronouns to describe ourselves. We'd all have, culture and language separating us, ideals and beliefs and value systems and religion and spirituality separating us. But the word original unifies us because, we were here first before everybody else. We possess something that links us, our heritage together. We can all trace our lineage back to Africa. We're all melanated. So, high concentrations, whether we're, extremely dark skinned, whether we're fair skinned, light skinned, in between, paper, brown, whatever hue or shade you are, you can trace your lineage back to Africa. And, that's where humanity originated from. So that's why I, prefer to refer to our people as original versus black. And then contrary to all unpopular belief, also dealing with the original, we were like originally located in all corners of the globe, and not all of us got there via a slave boat. So while slavery was a real thing, it really did happen, and it was horrific and horrendous, barbaric, all that, just all of us weren't, products of slavery. That's a fact. Especially here in the Americas. Almost like nearly 75-80% of us were already indigenously located here, but they called us black, stripping ourselves of our, stripping our birthright from us, which is this land. So when our native brothers and sisters, they cry out for justice for, having their land stolen by the colonizers, we're in that equation as well, because we was already here. They just start calling us something different and putting us on plantations and whipping us. But that's why I refer to our people as original. My overall takeaway I want people to get from my content that I'm sharing is the importance of why it's important to share positive content on all your platforms. This is why I call my listening audience my narrators, because you see, these days we're all judged based on the content that we're posting online. So we're all content creators to some small capacity. Whatever you're sharing on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, Twitter, that's what people's perception of you is based on. And like I said, we already have a negative perception of us by, the mainstream media. They go out their way to put out these false narratives about our people and our culture. So, just imagine they're already given negative frames of reference, and then we embrace these negative stereotypes, embrace and reinforce these negative stereotypes by embracing them online. So it's like when we're posting gang culture, pimp culture, whore culture, gun culture, violence culture, you know what I mean? Thought culture, F-boy culture, like we're posting all these like negative nuances and stereotypes about us online. And that's, people's takeaway from that. But again, that's why I call my listening audience my narrators, because we have, being in this digital age is a double-edged sword. You can control your content. You can tell your own story online or narrate your own story, thus changing the narrative. And as a matter of fact, that's my tagline, the Narrator Podcast, changing the narrative one episode at a time by destroying negative stereotypes about original people and original culture. How do I destroy the negative stereotypes? I provide positive frames of reference about our people and our culture, and I encourage all my listeners to do it as well. Share positive content on all your platforms about our people and our culture, because people is really lost, misinformed, and uneducated about our people and our culture. It's not about caring about what they think about us. This is like, if you're going to tell our story, tell it correctly. And we already know they're not going to tell our story correctly. So it's up to us to tell our stories correctly. We should be sharing stories about leadership, entrepreneurship, family structure, unity, entrepreneurialism, coming together as a community, contributing to humanity, contributing to society, just basically the inverse of what's being projected about us. That's what we need to be doing as a people. I mean, like you're a grown man, you're a grown woman, you can share whatever content you like on your platform, but just know it comes at a consequence. People, treat you based on what they perceive you as. And what they perceive us as, is what the frames of reference they have about us. And all the frames of reference that they're given about us is negative. So, we got the unique opportunity to change the narrative. All right. So now that you know what the Narrator Podcast is all about, I'm finna dive into this content. It's a live edition. So what I'm going to do is share some positive frames of reference about our people and our culture. And then I'm going to dive into some commentary. And then if there's time, I'm gonna walk you through my format for a entire broadcast. I broadcast, in its entirety on weekends. During the weekday, it's just super duper random. On weekends, it's like a full broadcast of the Narrator Podcast. In that, I have my content split up into sections, and each section has a speaking point. And if there's time allotted this evening, I'll walk you through my format for a full, broadcast of the Narrator Podcast, and then, turn it over to you, let you do whatever you do for this evening. But, So I got some good stuff for you tonight, and it's been a while, but I'm back. So here we go. Diving in. First article of this evening here on the Narrator Podcast. The headline reads, almost 100 inmates in Wisconsin's prison graduate from Milwaukee Area Technical College. This was back in 2022. They earned certificates in welding from Milwaukee's Second Chance program, at Milwaukee Technical College. 100 inmates has graduated since the program began. So it didn't say what year the program began, but, super duper positive. So I think all states should have some type of vocational training skills program for offenders, because if you don't, they're just going to get out, commit crimes, and be society's problem all over again. So they might have made their own choice to get in there, but if we're really, as a society, serious about prison reform, we have to actually take steps to reform the prisoners. We got to give them the tools they need to succeed in life, so they're not right back up in the same hell that they just left. Because if you're going to give them opportunity, you're going to take opportunity. And quite frankly, if we're being 1,000, prison is just college for felons. It's like you go in there on some petty, small potato stuff. You meet somebody in there that did a big crime, and then now you're gathering intel. How do I beat it next time if I get knocked for this again? Because they'll tell you, you link with somebody and they'll tell you how to beat it. Because not a good large percentage of the people, they pled guilty to something they didn't have to plead guilty to. So a lot of them, what they do, they meet a jailhouse lawyer, they file a writ and get out. But, now they're broken internally because they don't believe they have what it takes to make it on the outside. And so they go for, go into survival mode with new skills on how to break the law. So the cycle got to stop somewhere is what I'm saying. And vocational skills training might not be the definitive answer, but it's an answer. And that's what most people that go to prison, for is in there because they ran out of answers. They didn't know how to overcome their situation. They was looking for an answer and didn't get one. My next article, the headline reads, "Group of teen moms beat the odds to graduate from high school." Now this is the Georgia Chef Tap School in Louisville, Kentucky. The schools caters to young parents, offering education and wrap-up services like child care, medical support, and family resources. So they're offering expecting mothers, birthing classes, child care classes, probably offering medical rides to the hospital, prenatal stuff, counseling, if they know their child's father, how to communicate with the child's father and the child's father's family, which is super duper important, for to raise a family. You can't successfully raise children if you guys are always at odds. So to be to be that and mediate communication, to be the buffer between the woman that's bearing the child and the child's father, I think that's awesome. Get them guys talking and get them guys on the same page. Because while the pregnancy might have been unplanned, we got a life we're talking about here. So it don't matter if somehow y'all fell out of love, as rest her soul. Like the late great Tina Turner said, what's love got to do with it? Raising a child, rearing a child, that's serious business. So mess around, do. Now you got to be responsible and do some successful co-parenting. Like emotions ain't got nothing to do with it. Y'all might have conceived a child through the raging teenage hormones, but now y'all gotta bring it back in focus, get on the same page, and get a plan together. Not just for the development of your child and for yourselves, because you can't successfully rear a child if you're not successful. And I got jumped ahead of myself, so I think both of those articles deserve a round of applause. So join me in giving these two articles a warm narrative podcast round of applause. Next article, the headline reads, "Meet Harvard newspaper's first ever Black woman president in 145 years. She's only 20 years old. Her name is Christine E. Gilliam. And the newspaper's name is the Crimson. I think it's called the Crimson Tide. I might have recorded it wrong, but that's how I got it recorded in my notes. She made history as serving as the newspaper's president. It's been around 145 years. They've never had a woman president, let alone an original woman president, aka a Black woman. They've never had that in the whole 145 years. So that is monumental. This might seem like a double-handed compliment, what I'm about to say, but, throughout the article, so when I come across these articles, I just do bulleted points. So I didn't record all of it, the article in its entirety. I just, I record and share the highlights of the article, but throughout the article, it was saying prestigious a lot, and it's like, just the whole flow of the article was like there was giving cadence to an Ivy League college. Like it's the cream of the crop, you made it if you went to Harvard. And like, it's not all that, is what I'm trying to get at. Like, these Ivy League colleges, it's cat. And for keeping 1,000 like, you do need to learn something. You need to broaden your over and understanding about things and get to a higher level of education. But is college the end-all, be-all? Knowledge is knowledge. It doesn't matter where you get it from. Like, if you go into college and you're not using the degree that you got or applying the knowledge, that's just as bad as not going at all. So, like, it's basically like college is just like designer, basically, for knowledge. You know how some people just buy Louis and Gucci, just say they got Louis and Gucci and all these European fashion designers. They don't actually do anything. Like, you're still whoever you are in those designer labels. That doesn't change you as a person. Like, if you was a sucker before you bought some Gucci, you still a sucker. You're just a sucker wearing Gucci. You feel me? So, like, if you wasn't all that intellectually astute before you attended an Ivy League college or an HBCU for that matter, then you're still not all that mentally sharp. You just got a degree now, a piece of paper that says you are. But that's a good accomplishment. It kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I just like seen it in the article that they're trying to make that alma mater so prestigious and holy and just like, that's the answer for everything, to have a Ivy League education. Now, mind you, that Ivy League education does open a lot of doors. This is why a whole lot of Caucasians go to these Ivy League colleges just for the connections in life, the doors it can open up for you. Because you got that, that foot in the door. Oh, a Harvard man, a Yale man, an Oxford man. You know what I mean? Get that crystal staircase with that name recognition. And we need every toe in the door we can get. All right, next article headline reads, young black lawyer from Baltimore shatters bar exam with highest recorded score. Like, I don't know, they had a worded really weird, but I worked it out. Basically, what the headline of the article was saying, he got the highest score from that particular, law school that he studied at, the bar exam. And the brother's name was Matthew Graham, and he's from Baltimore, Maryland. He scored a 300 or 309 out of 400. Next article, the headline reads, meet 4 successful HBU grads turn STEM professionals, products of a black-owned nonprofit. And for those that aren't familiar with STEM, the acronym, it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And so the nonprofit is called Still I Rise, that funded this particular program for these young men to get them the STEM skills required to get into their respective fields. Still I Rise is a nonprofit organization. It's based out in Dallas, Texas. Offers banking initiatives, so it teaches, financial literacy, how to bank, how to build your own banking system. And then, of course, it has the STEM initiative, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they have their own bookstore with Still I Rise books. In the book series features academic enrichment skills, mentoring skills. They also offer hands-on internships, leadership workshops to develop leadership skills and become team leaders and how to thrive in a team environment to where you arise as, take your position as a leader in a team environment. So a lot of good host of interpersonal soft skills training with that program. And the young graduates' names are George Polk. He majored in electrical engineering. Nicholas Lampkin, he majored in mechanical engineering. Taylor Brooks majored in computer tech. And the founder of the program was also a student. I'm not only the, what was that hair care commercial? I'm not only the client, I'm the president. So here's not only the client, but the president of the program, Kevin Monday Senior. If I got his name right. Probably had to Google it, fact check me, but I think it's Kevin Monday Sr. And he majored in computer technology. Or computer engineering, something like that, yeah. But still impressive nevertheless. Let's join me in giving them guys a warm narrative round of applause for their accomplishments. Next article, headline reads, Single Dad Earns Master's Degree while working 3 jobs to care for his sons. And this is the story of 36-year-old father from Newark, New Jersey. What is his name? Hold on, you guys. What is that brother's name? I cannot believe I did not record his name. I'm still here. Check 1, check 2. Okay. It's live. Got to make sure. I'll be right back with his name. Check 1, check 2. Yeah, I'm still here. So the brother's name is Desmond Durham. So, he had to multitask. He had, raising his children and caring for his children, as motivation, letting nothing slow him down. Triumphing in the face of adversity. That's what we do as a people. That's why I'm sharing these stories. All these stories is us triumphing in the face of adversity. Everything the ops throw at us to try to knock us down ends up failing every single time. We cannot be stopped. We do stumble though. Missed y'all, man. I got a lot of stuff. I think I got how many more articles? Let me see. 1, 2. All right, these are my last 2 articles. I just want to see how many more articles I had. I don't know. I recorded these notes kind of funky. It's like they all start on a different page, so I basically lost my place. All right, so last 2 articles, guys. The headline reads, Historical Black High School opens a bank on campus. And this high school was Hillside High in Durham, North Carolina. The bank offers, family banking for, families of students themselves and their families, as well as faculty. And they also offer hands-on internships for the students to get that real-world experience banking. So upon graduating, they'll get a guaranteed job at a bank. So that's super duper positive. Let's give a warm narrative podcast round of applause for that. Last article for this evening, last but certainly not least, this is almost like breaking news. Zimbabwe sells 39 gold-backed tokens. So it's basically like a physical form of crypto. And the reason why they're doing that is to, stimulate the country's economy. Stimulate and stabilize the country's economy. So that's always awesome. Well, that's it for the articles this evening. And I'm going to dive into some commentary. And the reason why I commentate on breaking news is to do my part to control the narrative. Because as I said, the media goes out of their way to have us looking and sounding crazy. So, anything I commentate on, I'm commentating from our perspective. I'm covering it through our eyes. What's that mean for us as a people? Things we should be paying attention to, unearthing the unspoken message, because it's always in the fine print. The devil is always in the details, and by me commentating on breaking news and current news, this is just me chopping through the BS and breaking it down from our perspectives. All right, so this is going to be super light tonight. There's not really nothing too deep going on in these internet streets, but two particular topics stood out to me that I'm going to commentate on this evening. First one is a topic, our sister, Keke Palmer. She has her own talk show or podcast series where she's a co-host on, and she gave her unbridled opinion about pop culture. And the pop culture topic that was discussing was, sitcoms. And, she was just having she's an entertainer, so she was having shop talk, basically. And that was the correct platform to have shop talk, because she is an entertainer. She's an actress. So she got the professional license to comment on that, because, opinions are like a-holes. They all stink and everybody got one, but more to the point, there's a couple of different kinds of opinions. Some opinions just like random people just saying random stuff about random stuff. Not offering any solicited expertise, and then you got informed expert opinions. And her being an entertainer, she's an informed expert in that field. So, what was the comment? What did she say? Basically, they was talking about sitcoms, and the Cosby Show comes up. Keke says something along the lines of she was commenting on Felicia Rashad's character she portrayed on the Cosby Show. Claire Huxtable, and Keke's assessment of the character was that Claire was uppity. And, that sent the internet ablaze. So It's a lot to unpack in that statement. So I try my best to give a good synopsis of what happened and deliver my commentary based on what I believe she was trying to say. So first of all, the word uppity. Let's start there. It sounds negative. And see, the uppity is something that the oppressor put on us. It's something negatively ingrained into us. This is something that the oppressor does ingrained into us to discourage us from having decorum and self-esteem and self-respect about ourselves. This is something that, is something psychosomatic behind that word uppity. So when you're speaking proper English, pronouncing your E's and R's, somebody caught back then when the origin of the word, they will call you a uppity N-word. And it's been ingrained into us so much, we act out the language and lifestyle of the oppressor. We start calling ourselves uppity. Look at her, she thinks she all uppity. Going to college and learning stuff, reading books, uppity ass N-word. I can go on and go super in-depth into the word uppity. Now, a better word she probably could have used, and probably what she meant to say, was bourgeois. And bourgeois is basically a French word. It means kind of the same thing, but not. It's really reflective of like upper middle class. And so if she would have said bourgeois versus uppity, there wouldn't have been so much controversial, because then that is an intelligent assessment of the character, because, Felicia Rashad's character was a lawyer. So they're upper middle class. Bill Cosby's character of Heathcliff Huxtable, he was a doctor. So, they're upper middle class, living in a good neighborhood in New York City. They got a upper middle type house, living environment. They're associated with other upper middle class black people on the show. And, really bourgeois. And bourgeois kind of, people associate that with being stuck up or arrogant. We got a whole lot of, just a sidebar, a side tangent I'm finna to go on. We got a whole lot of bourgeois Negroes representing us in politics, speaking for us, and don't represent us. But anyway, more to what was going on there. She said the word uppity, like I said, it's been ingrained into us to look at ourselves like that by the oppressor. And she doesn't even realize the play with that when she said it. But to her point, she's a Gen Z. And then more to the point, she's of the hip-hop generation. See, in hip-hop, we kind of just, adapt words. We make our own definitions for a word. Or we might alter the definitions or, make something ours. Like originally, the word ghetto came from the small hat community. We kind of like adapted that as our own word and made it. And then piggybacking off of that, bourgeois. We shortened it into bougie. They being bougie. You know what I mean? We shorten bourgeois, bougie. And that's what we do in our culture. We kind of shorten things to get to the point, not because we're ignorant and don't know how to pronounce the word. It's just more time efficient. Like in our culture, we will say Pacific. Like, I don't know too many of us that don't say Pacific. The word is specific, but we'll say Pacific just because it's just quicker. It's just quicker. We know, the Pacific Ocean, Pacific region in the United States, but in our culture, we'll just say Pacific. Just to like speed it up, because we ain't got all day. Now, some words, like, we need, there ain't no excuse. Like, I don't know, we make some parts of English more labor intense. Like, we making the word harder than what it really is. Like when we say street, for those of us to put the K in there, it doesn't need to be a K in there. Like, you're going out of your way to say street in the streets. You went out of your way to say scrape, and it's straight. Like, you're making more work for yourself, bro. Get to the point. But anyway, my assessment of the situation, I believe the young sister just misspoke. And it happens. We all misspeak. It's something that just happens. I don't believe that's, what she meant to say. I don't believe she meant to say, call an iconic, legendary, prime example of femininity uppity. See, that's what the Cosby Show, this is why the powers that be hated that show so much. Because this gave us a positive, visual perception of what life is supposed to be like. Because before the Cosby Show aired, in our community, we had stopped conceiving the notion of the sanctity of marriage. Like, we didn't believe that was possible to be married, for two people to be married anymore. We gave up on that. We gave up on wanting to go to college. We didn't believe, that was realistic. We gave up on wanting to be involved in our children's day-to-day lives. It's like, just send them to school. Hey, I'm giving you food, shelter. Y'all figure it out. But before the Cosby Show aired, after the Cosby Show aired, people started becoming more interactive, interested with their children. Parents started wanting to rear their children better, starting to get, involved in their schoolwork, trying to basically be present in their lives. And Felicia Rashad's portrayal of the character Claire Huxtable, was a personification of what the original woman, aka the black woman, is supposed to be. She's supposed to have herself together. She's, looking like a queen, hair combed, clean, having some business about herself, not sitting around on the phone gossiping with rollers in her hair, smoking a Newport, but having a job, having a career, actually, being a lawyer's career. And then sidebar on the show, she wasn't a legal partner. She wasn't working at a legal firm. She had her own, law. She was practicing law all by herself. She wasn't working at for a law firm. If you're a big fan of the Cosby Show. And then another part, I think, where it went left at, she's Gen Z, so she doesn't have that hands-on connection to it like we do. She's catching it after it's been she grew up, when she was born, it was already in syndicated reruns. So we came from the era where it was necessary, it was in prime time. You didn't miss an episode of The Cosby. It means something more to us, and that's why we let our emotions get away from us about it when she said it like that, because that was that hurt really bad. It's like it was an attack on our mother. That's how we took that comment, but she didn't mean it like that. But how the internet is. And then another thing that I gotta point out: this isn't an attack on our brothers and sisters, but we know what month this is. What's this month? What is this month? The month of June. It's Pride Month. And on that panel, she had somebody from that community whom she was like giving her assessment on their character. Now, I know you're saying, damn, Halsey, you try to turn everything into a conspiracy. But, hey, like the shoe fits where it, because the context in which she was speaking to the young man, it was like really agenda-ish, like it went left. And like when like people attached to that community are involved, we're living in the era where they're doing and saying stuff for clicks and views. And somewhere behind the scenes, there's the puppet master pulling strings, knowing that just a slip of the word, like a slip of the tongue that she had, would create so much havoc, chaos, and confusion on the internet. And they put themselves in a position to profit from that. And so it's generating all kinds of hits and views, and all kind of money is being made just off of her slip of the tongue. And that's all it was. It was just a slip of the tongue. She didn't, I personally, I give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't believe she meant to say it in that context as everybody took it. When she said, Claire Huxtable, she was uppity. It's just like, the tone, how she said it. And, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. We've been ingrained into us not to feel good about ourselves. And when we read books and we do things to try to improve our living situation, when we, carry and conduct ourselves with a sense of urgency, when we speak intelligently, we carry ourselves with pride, class, and decorum, then we're being uppity. But if I'm self-deprecating, don't have any goals in life, if don't really, see the silver lining, then that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine to be in that state of mind for us. Nobody has an objection to that. But let you get some self-esteem, let you, smell that coffee in the morning and recognize your self-worth, then you're a problem. When you walk into the room with authority, you command the whole room, you walk with your head up and your shoulders back, fully erect and confident, then watch how many people get to whispering when you get in the room in the bad way. He think he all that. She thinks she all that. Oh, uppity N-word. Why? Because you're self-confident? Because you care about yourself? Because you want what's best for you? Because you're not going to settle for less and you're not going to let nobody play you cheap? Well, hell, I'm uppity then. But I also want to take this time to shout out comedian Schuler King. He had posted the story on his channel and he did a magnificent job because he's a very, very funny brother, but also very intelligent, very articulate. The way, how he broke it down about the article. He did a brilliant job just, filtering through it and then made extra painstaking strides not to make any personal attacks on Keke Palmer for saying it. And see, that's what I love in our community. People like that. And that's what I'm hating about, the comment itself, because now a whole lot of people are using their platforms to personally attack Keke Palmer for saying a fictional character on a television show that's not even airing in syndicated reruns anymore was being uppity. So they're like really big mad at Keke Palmer right now. But it's a teachable moment for all of us, and I hope we learn our lesson. We are kings, we are queens, we're gods and goddesses of the universe. Damn it, let's start acting like it. Let's be proud. Let's carry ourselves with decorum, respect, dignity, and class, and break this, the chains of the oppressor by calling each other uppity or arrogant or self-righteous simply for knowing your value, your worth, and walking like you mean something. Taking care of yourself. Like, no, I ain't uppity. Like, I'm to myself. I don't want to engage in no negativity. I don't want to be in conversations in rooms where it's completely dark and I'm the only source of light in the room. That got to stop. But that was just my spiel on the situation. I believe the sister misspoke. And, like I said, we cannot blame every teeny tiny problem we have within our community on the Caucasian man, the white man, powers that be, systemic issues. We can't blame every teeny tiny problem that we have on that, but we can blame a good 89% of it on it. And, that's kind of where we got that mentality to release that word out of our mouth. That's where that came from, uppity. That was them trying to break our self-esteem. They want to equate us being intelligent, us caring about our self-esteem as arrogance. So when somebody says uppity, they mean you're being arrogant. You think you all that, and you supposed to. What you mean? Yeah, I'm that, all that. All that and 10 bags of chips, actually. But anyway, that was my assessment on that. Moving on to the next topic for my commentary this evening. And then after that, if there's time allotted, I will walk you through my format for the entire broadcast of the Narrator podcast. But, here we go, diving in. The next article that hit my radar is Brother Tyrese. He went super hard in the yard on Culture Vulture #1, none other than DJ Vlad of Vlad TV. And he's not the first one to do it. The first two to defect from the Vlad television show was comedian Godfrey and 1/3 of the Brand Nubians, Lord Jamar. And they did an open protest of DJ Vlad by no longer associating themselves or their brand with his show for openly disrespecting one of our leaders, the Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan. And they did it because he openly, consciously misquoted him. He had a comment, it was like a couple years now, um, at an event he spoke, and basically he intentionally misquoted the minister, saying he said something he didn't say, and that something he said was about the tiny hat community, and he felt offended. He got on code, basically. He showed his true colors because he's submerged in hip-hop culture, and he chimes in, and he's always got a jab or a diss, something like negative to say about our culture and our people. But as soon as you say something about his people, then he's offended. And he's not really organically, religiously a small-head person. Religiously, he doesn't have a religious belief. He says he's a devout atheist. He eats pork. But when he believed, he didn't even have actual proof. He was in emotion. He's supposed to, first of all, if you're in journalism, you're supposed to be neutral. Even if the minister did say it, he's supposed to be neutral. He ain't supposed to say nothing, have no type of feelings about it. He's just a messenger. It's news. We're talking about it. It's news. But he breaks his own code as being a devout atheist to say he was offended because people in his family were over there in those concentration camps, and he felt some type of way. And a whole lot of people said they felt some type of way. When it was believed, he said something negative, and he didn't actually say anything negative. He was using a metaphor or a euphemism, if you will, to describe, what they should do to people that aren't telling the truth and not of, being who they say they are. That's what he was basically saying. People who are not actually the J word, saying that they're the J word, but then acting not of God. That's what the minister was saying. Vlad knew that, and he intentionally misquoted to solidify his point and to just basically give his point he was trying to make some validity. They even went out their way to reach out to him and give him the opportunity to apologize. He snuffed on that, he didn't feel obligated to apologize, but, don't have a problem eating off our culture. But you openly violate one of our beloved leaders. And you got a repetitive history of openly violating our, beloved leaders, saying something negative about the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, saying something negative about the Honorable Elijah's predecessor and teacher, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Louis Minister Farrakhan's, teacher and predecessor and teacher. Like Elijah Muhammad's predecessor and teacher would be W.D. Farad Muhammad, but, But, he had a real nasty habit of airing people out. So Tyrese, now normally I don't like it when our brother goes online to, express his feelings, because some stuff he does out of emotion, and just some stuff don't need to be on the internet. Like the last thing I saw on the internet that he posted, this is like way after the when he was going through his thing with his child. He was at a Home Depot, and so He's basically refused service at a Home Depot as a shopping while black type thing, and he put that online. And I just felt he didn't have any business online. He could have just let the lawyer step in for that one, because it was just like the context of it. It was just like the cashier didn't care. Nobody in the store cared. Nobody was empathetic. Nobody was batting an eyelash. It got him upset because, he's sending the staff in there to get something, and then they want to turn around and ID him for something, and like she knew who he was, and, it was just a who cares type thing. But he was right on the money for this because, like, Vlad, just as he's a habitual line stepper, he's always doing that. He's manipulating. You can trace everybody back. All the major names in hip hop, they didn't start getting in trouble until they started doing DJ Vlad interviews, including his biggest draw right now, Boozy Badass. Boozy he done had people from, the rainbow community run up on him on camera. That wasn't happening before he started doing Vlad TV interviews. He didn't start getting in trouble with Mark Zuckerberg before he started doing Vlad TV interviews. Like, all the problems he has as an entertainer can be linked. You can check it, timestamp it, you can fact check. That's the thing about things online. You can go look at his very first Vlad TV interview and then go set your watch to when he started getting in trouble. He even got in trouble with the Qs, the Alphas, about a shirt that he wore on Vlad TV. They was mad about that. A college fraternity about a shirt that he wore. Now he's back and forth with Gabrielle Union. She didn't even know who he was before he went on Vlad TV. Now, if he would have said it on Instagram, she wouldn't have cared. But shout out to Tyrese for speaking truth to power. Shout out to comedian Godfrey and Lord Jamar. Shout out anybody in the entertainment industry that stopped going up there. Now, for me, I had stopped watching this channel even before that because I was an avid listener, and it's not just the reason why people watch it is for the guests. They was having some really good, interesting dialogue. I was side-eyeing the manner in which he was asking his guest stuff. It was like he was trying to, use like police-like tactics, leading questions. It was acting like leading questions to make them leave them open for something negative. He was asking like real interrogating type questions, not interview questions. He sounded like he interrogated them. You know what I mean? So that's crazy. But shout out Tyrese for calling that out. But I also want to throw in the pot. Not only do we need to ban people like Vlad, we need to start banning some of these black culture vultures. Because all skin folk ain't your kin folks, because sometimes we're the worst. You think Vlad's bad, there's black podcasters, brothers and sisters, they got their own platform that's a million times worse than Vlad. And they intentionally do it. They intentionally clickbait to stir up the pot for money. And then it's worse coming from them because they already know the plight. They already know. They experience, what the controversy that they're trying to stir up. They know firsthand what their actions is going to, ultimately cause, but they do it anyway. They do it for the bad. And that's like They worse than a million Vlads to me. So if we're going to get on his head, we got to start getting on their heads too. And now, since I brought up the minister, that just to paraphrase one of his speeches about, people misrepresenting us, what we need to start doing as a people, when we catch somebody using their platform to get on a stage and misrepresent them, we need to drag them off stage and whip their ass. And I'm not advocating violence, just as the minister wasn't advocating violence. I'm just saying, we got to stop tolerating the disrespect, is what I'm saying. Because, all money ain't good money. You can't take it with you. And now, especially, our eyes is open to the American dollar, which is no longer backed by gold and hasn't been backed by gold for many, many moons. And you acting out of character for some disposable paper. You sitting up there lying on your brother and your sister for some disposable paper. We expect them to do it. We expect people like Vlad to do it. We know the play. We know they're the ops, but then you want to do it? You want to start doing it? It too, Brute? You going to plunge the knife on our back? Yeah, but he went super hard, and Tyrese went hard on the yard, and I really, really respect him for that, using his platform to call it out, because dude is a habitual line stepper, and he was bringing up his name on several different guests, damn. But my personal turning point that made me stop messing with him is when he had started talking about Garrett, what is the brother's name? Let me look it up right quick because I don't want to get his name wrong. Jeffrey Owens. When he had started clowning Jeffrey Owens for working at Trader Joe's, calling him a failure. This white man calling a brother making a living a failure because he was an entertainer making a living. Because first of all, he wasn't supposed to be a mainstay. He was a side character. How many times before he even had the show did they even have the oldest one on there? He was their oldest daughter's boo thing. So she wasn't a mainstay either when the show aired. The one that played their daughter, she wasn't a mainstay. So two side characters that wasn't even posted be on the show. They was just always referring to her, but we didn't actually see her till damn near season 2. And then he comes through. And then he goes down in television history as being the son-in-law, America's favorite son-in-law. But then you're going to call him a failure after the shock, the Cosby Show, ends, and who are you anyway, white boy? So when they overstep their bounds and violate, we got to check them. But not only just check them, we got to check our own brothers and sisters too. Because y'all the worst. Y'all get on Instagram and YouTube and all these other platforms, podcasting platforms, stirring the pot up for clicks and views, clickbaiting, just for some quick clout to, make your brand go viral. But a viral moment is just a moment. And when that moment passes, the thing about the internet, bruh, sis, it makes the world smaller. So the person you talking bad about, they got millions of dollars at their disposal. And so you know what they're going to do when they find you? From thinking you can sit comfortably behind your computer and spew rhetoric about them and their situation, they're going to dispose you because they got millions of dollars out at their disposal. Now, I'm hoping they don't physically hurt you, but they can mess with you in other ways. So why are you doing it? Just for some clout? But yeah, went off on a super deep tangent, but my overall thing I want to just commentate on that is like, shout out to Tyrese staying on code and exposing the devil. He shamed the devil and told the truth. So, yeah. Stay on his neck, bro. That's all I got to say. Stay on his neck. And we already know Tyrese is super petty. Well, that's it for my commentary. That's all the only two things that came across my radar that I felt like commentating on. There's all kinds of stuff happening, but nothing I personally feel aligns up with my platform or what I'm trying to do. So I'm gonna just leave that alone. So that's it. Thanks for staying with me for a live edition of the Narrator podcast. When I share this live episode of the Narrator podcast back online on all my platforms, please download it, and as well as all previously recorded episodes of the Narrator podcast. So now, this live edition has officially concluded. I'm gonna give you a quick overview of, a full episode of the Narrator podcast right quick. I got enough time to do that this evening. And then I'm going to plug, after I walk you through an overview of my format, I'm going to plug everything I got going on and then leave you guys to enjoy your evening. So, when you tune in this weekend for the Narrator podcast, just know it's broken up into sections. Each section has a speaking point. And the reason why I broke my, content up into sections is because I believe, in efficiency. I want to deliver efficient content. So that helps me not ramble and get straight to the point. And it also makes my content more cohesive and have a nice feel to it and resonate longer with their listeners. So that's my overall goal as a podcaster to do, is to have my content resonate with you. I think that's the overall goal for all podcasters, is to have their content resonate with the listener or the viewer if they got a video platform. In my case, it's audio. But, they want the content to resonate with you. Because when I first started podcasting, I had no clear idea of what I wanted to do. I just knew I wanted to talk. Just hit the button and just go in. I didn't have no stopping point. And I was rambling and talking in circles. And basically, I was just ranting. It wasn't a podcast. I was just ranting about stuff. So, I took a step back and assessed my content. It was like, what do I want to do with my platform? What do I want to do with my voice? So I was like, well, I want to help my people. I want to uplift my people. I want to edify my people and put out content that will, help us feel better about us. Because we get bombarded with too much negativity. And I'm tired of negativity. I'm tired of, all these negative, false images and audio clips of us acting out of our element, acting like anything less than a king or a queen. So let me, design some content that will empower us, uplift us, and impact us. So that's what I did. Gave my podcast a little overhaul. Broke it down into sections and made it, time efficient. So that's what I want to do in this space. Respect your time, respect my time. I want to give the knowledge about how, and make it highly accessible. I don't want to shoot all the way over people's heads, Not that I don't believe my people are unintelligent and can't follow what I'm saying if I use a big word here and there. I'm just saying, it's an easier way to get to the point. And that's what I try to do. I try to take the more efficient way to get to the point. I use a KISS formula, keep it simple, silly, and, just try to make my content more accessible. I don't want to go way over people's heads and be like, what? I don't want that feeling for you to walk away from my content and be like, what? What? No, I want it to hit hard and resonate. That's what I want my content to do for you. And that's what I've done. So I'm going to go over to give you a quick overview and then plug what I got going on and then leave you guys to enjoy your evening. All right, so when you tune in this weekend, my first section is going to be the promo section. In the promo section, what I'm doing is I'm giving original people that own or operate their own business or have a product or a service that they were promoting. And the reason why I'm doing that is to, help do my part to circulate the original people dollar within the original people community by making, the business product or service known, promoting, the business or product or service, something that will help our people. Because while we are due reparations until we get it, it's up to all of us to support one another. And you support with money, and then you support with support. You use your digital platforms. If you don't have the money to purchase whatever the person's selling, at least what you can do on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or whatever digital space you occupy is promote an original people-owned business. And that's what I'm doing in that space is I'm promoting an original people-owned business with the anticipation that the business that I'm promoting is rooted in the community and will provide whatever the community needs. So sounds good? Such as hiring their own, providing financial literacy, some type of vocational skills training program, paying into a nonprofit organization or, supplying the community with their own nonprofit organization, in addition to running their business. So the people I want to, reach out to me to have their business, product, brand, or whatever promoted is people that have a sense of community and do some type of community outreach. So basically, in short, it's a reach one, teach one type deal. I promoted 110% for you for free on my platform. And you can just see my last aired broadcast on how to get in touch with me if you need or like some free promotion. I'm not going to do that because I'm just giving you a brief overview of my podcast. So next section is the contest section. In the contest section, what I'm doing is I'm promoting a contest for my platform, the Narrator podcast. It's basically an incentive section. I'm rewarding my current listeners, and I'm attempting to try to attract new ones with the lure of you get cool stuff listening to my podcast. So my current contest is basically, I'm giving away a bulk supply of your favorite snack food for participating in the contest topic. As a matter of fact, that's why I call the contest Chew on This. And my topic is share your most recent shopping while Black experience. And for sharing your most recent shopping while Black experience, I will give you a bulk supply of your favorite snack simply by entering the contest. And again, to get the entry information, just see my last broadcast. I believe it was episode 240. It was broken down into two parts because I was having technical difficulties, but essentially it's 240 a part one and a part two. It's either 240 or 241. I don't know, but check it out. Okay, so after that section is the main section. This is like really, those wasn't just the two warm-up sections to get you engrossed, get the adrenaline pumping. And the main event is the next section. And that section is called the highlight section. In the highlight section, what I'm doing is I'm highlighting businesses owned and operated by original people. And the reason why I'm doing that is to provide you guys with the positive frame of reference of entrepreneurialism. And why do I feel I need to do that? Because we don't get many positive frames of reference about that. It's like all the reality television shows that we have on that. We're focused on the dysfunction because they use dysfunction to lure the audience in. Like they it's heavy drama laden. So we're focusing so much on the fighting and the calling each other names and denigrating each other. We forget that the show is about entrepreneurship. We forget, there's a brother and sister on that show that owns their whole, legit owns their whole brand, making six figures or better, got a team of lawyers, got 2 or 3 dozen staff people up underneath them, but how the producers set the show up. They set it up to promote violence, ignorance, all the negative stereotypes and nuances that we have within our culture about us. That's what they focus their lens on. So in my highlight section, because I'm an audio platform, I'm giving you nothing but positivity. The type of people that I highlight in the highlight section, they're just regular schmegler people like most of us. They was working a regular 9-to-5 job. At some point, they got tired of working their 9-to-5 job, and they wanted, to do something better for their life, something more gratifying and rewarding and fulfilling, and also having the privilege of, being their own boss, not having to check in with somebody for vacation time and asking, a boss, can you do stuff? Can you live? And all that. So they just went on ahead and started their own business. They didn't necessarily have the education or the vocational skills training set. Initially, when they started their business, they just acquired that on the way. And they didn't necessarily have a business plan. The types of people that I highlight in this highlight section, they didn't necessarily have a business plan when they started. Little to no funding, so little to no background or expertise in that field that they're currently in now. But through trial and error, they found a way to triumph in the face of adversity and start their own business and start their new lives. Also, what I'm trying to do in that section, I'm trying to walk you through their journey from the developmental stages from the prototype stage all the way up to the finished product. Like I'm trying to give you how they came up with their name, the significance of their brand name, what their brand does, their mission statement, their business, their core value systems of their business, what they intend to do with their product, how they want their product to benefit, the consumer and what areas they focusing on. That's all the stuff I'm trying to give you in that section. I'm just trying to give you their whole entire journey. Then also, more of it, the types of business I highlight in the highlight section are, the majority of them are family owned and operated. So I'm giving you the physical or the frame of reference about generational wealth, because it's family owned and operated. So that means when the proprietor's done, they're passing the baton to somebody in their family and they're continuing the legacy on. So the business stays open, the community stays thriving. They're hiring people from the community and their family. They're donating, giving back, providing goods and services to the community. Some other qualifying factors on the highlight section about the businesses I highlight: they either have their own nonprofit organization or they pay into one. And then my final qualifying factor for the businesses featured in the highlight section of the Narrator podcast, they align up with my theme. And my current theme from now until the end of the season is the season of summer. So I'll be highlighting, businesses that I mentally associate with the season of summer. Get it? Cool. So after the highlight section, I transition over into the spotlight section. And in the spotlight section, what this is just basically a feel-good section, a warm and fuzzy. I'm giving a prominent figure from our community their roses while they're here. The purpose of me doing that is to create the healthy habit of saying something nice about your brother or sister online, as opposed to using your platforms to speak negatively about a brother or sister, roast a brother or sister, talk bad about them. We're the only people to do that. Like nobody else dedicates their Twitter or their Instagram or their TikToks to flaming somebody else. It's been ingrained into us to believe that's the only way that you can get the bag is, throwing your brother or sister under the bus or saying something bad about them, sparking arguments and chaos online. So in the spotlight section, what I'm doing is I'm celebrating a prominent figure within our community for going above and beyond to use their platforms to speak on our cause publicly and unapologetically, doing some type of humanitarian work, some type of community outreach, such as some type of charity work, or using their platform for social justice, political justice, trying to get equality, climate, using their platform to talk about stuff that matters, doing philanthropy work, doing charity, giving back to our communities to some small capacity, or, just the way they visually carry and conduct themselves. So you have that visual positive frame of reference about, a good brother or a good sister, that visual impact that they have, that aesthetics, the way they carry and conduct themselves. So having said that, the types of, prominent figures within our community that I highlight is usually in the entertainment industry. They're usually actors, actresses, comedians, athletes, recording artists, religious figures, public figures, public speakers, motivational speakers, all that. Those are the types of people that I usually highlight in the highlight section. And then I already told you why. Now, more to my point, in addition to having the highlight section in the first place and what the highlight section symbolizes, I created the way for spotlighting. Because before I added a spotlight section to my content, to my platform, nobody online, on YouTube, on the internet, any other podcasts, any other television shows was spotlighting anybody. But now all of a sudden you tune into a podcast, a radio show, a TV show, whatever. When they get to a certain section, when they're interviewing somebody, they'll be like, today we'll be spotlighting so-and-so and such, and nobody was spotlighting anybody until I added a spotlight section to my podcast, the Narrator podcast. Got to make some noise for me.
To the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.
In a real way. So, yeah. And then, like I said, the reason why I did it is just because, we use our platforms to denigrate each other and talk bad about each other. I just wanted to create the healthy habit for us to celebrate each other rather than to talk bad about each other and try to tear each other down. So the fact that so many people are now spotlighting people, that makes me feel good. Even if I don't get my name referenced, even if nobody shouts my name out, even if nobody, says they mess with the Narrative Podcast, says they mess with Halsey Allen, I know they do. Because they got spotlight sections, because they reference, content that I cover on my podcast. I know they do because they say little, all my types of nuances I have within my speech pattern and stuff I say. I see it or hear it on other shows. So I know you're listening. But I'm not mad about that because I'm not clout chasing. And I did it for a reason. And I'm doing it for a reason. Not just the bag. Not just the name recognition. Not just for the fame. I'm doing it because I legit care about the representation of my people. I'm tired of us being misrepresented. I'm tired of us all these false images about us. I'm tired of us being intentionally misrepresented. So that's why I did the spotlight section. That's why I'm doing this podcast to, obliterate these negative stereotypes about us. So after the spotlight section is over with, I transition on to the health and wellness section of my podcast. And the health and wellness section is just how it sounds. I'm giving tips about health and wellness, total body health and wellness. The reason why I'm doing that is because our people is under the most attack, mentally, physically, and spiritually. On the physical side of it, they're putting things in our food. They're putting things in our water, in our air that adversely affect our unique physiology in a negative way. They're basically putting stuff in our food, air, and water that makes us sick. So we need to stay armored up so we don't be sick and just die off. And that's why I'm giving, tips about, how to have total body wellness, because health is wealth. Because, you can have the goal of being a millionaire or a billionaire or whatever area you want to feel like you don't have to want for anything anymore in life and, live at the level you believe that you won't have to work as hard for or won't experience discomfort in, it's not wrong for wanting to be in a 5-star hotel and, go on private jets and have foreign cars and stuff. That's not a bad thing, but you're delusional if you don't think you need to take care of yourself before you get there. So if you acquire all that financial wealth, but then your physical health is in the crap box, you're going to die. You're going to die as soon as you get it. Or if you don't, you spend the majority of it running back and forth to the hospital. So I'm giving health and wellness tips, basically how to stay armored up in all the areas we're being attacked mentally, physically, and spiritually. So for example, on the physical side of it, usually you will hear the health benefits of a fruit, plant, vegetable, herb, extract, or an elixir that will improve your health by either ingesting it or applying it topically to your body. Or some type of physical exercise you can perform to stay in good peak physical shape. On the mental side of it, some tips I'll give you, something like mindful breathing, mindfulness, reading, just anything that will stimulate your brain or relax your mood or enhance your mood. I'm giving tips about that. On the spiritual side of it, you'll hear things like praying and meditating and various different spiritual practices. So what I do, physical, mental, spiritual, yeah. And then, and then I got my wild card days. I might hit you with something metaphysical. I might hit you with quantum law. I might hit you with universal law. But I'm going to give you tips on how to get through this. And that's what you got to look forward to in the health and wellness section on the Narrator podcast. Small disclaimer about all my tips I give in that section. Number one, I'm not a guru. No, formal certifications. But I am working on it. I'm working on getting my holistic healing license. 2, all the content covered in that section is specifically aimed towards my people. Like anybody is free to listen to my podcast. I don't care, your religious background. I don't care if you're Caucasian. I don't care if you're Asian. I don't care about any of that. You're free to listen to my content, but just know all the content on my podcast is geared towards my people, especially in the health and wellness section. Because contrary to all unpopular belief, we are, all human beings, but we are not all the same. So, I'm just giving, tips for people possessing our unique physiology. Because we have different problems. We have different mental problems. We have different, health problems, physical health problems. We got different dietetic needs. And so I'm just facilitating the needs of my people in that section. So it's no shade or no hate, but I'm just being honest and real with you. So what works for us probably won't work for you from listening to that section. Next on the Narrator Podcast, after the health and wellness section, I'll transition into my speaking point of the day. And my speaking point of the day is just like what I just did this evening. It's my commentary on, breaking news, current news, trending topics, whatever hot button issues going around. That's what I'm commentating on. Excuse me. That's what I'll be delivering my commentary on. When I have some commentary to deliver, I've had episodes where I haven't had anything to pique my interest enough to talk about it. And in those instances, what I do on that section is just deliver a PSA about something our people need to work on, something we need to work on as a people, an observation that I had. And when I say we, I mean me, because I'm probably like the main person violating. So don't feel singled out when I do my PSAs. I'm talking about me too. And then lastly, I'll close in the Narrator Podcast with my final thought of the day, final word of the day. I kind of alternate back and forth between them. But the final thought and the final word is just basically a wise word of wisdom, the gem, a pearl of wisdom, something philosophical, something that'll resonate with you, something that will inspire you, something that will evoke critical thinking, get you to just change your perspective on something that you're looking at. That's what my final thought or final word is designed to do. And it's just supposed to be a wise word of wisdom, something like, I never thought about it like that. So a gem, a pearl of wisdom, what have you, that's what the final thought or final word is. And there you have it. The Narrative Podcast in its entirety. I know you're going to tune in this weekend to listen to it. Thanks you for listening to the Narrative Podcast live this evening. And I'm looking forward to, cooling out with you guys this weekend. Well, that's it for this edition of the Narrative Podcast. So tune in this weekend to join me for a full episode of the Narrative Podcast. Now, my lives are super duper random. I never know what days I'm going to have free to be able to broadcast. To be truthful, I just really started doing lives. Like, it hasn't even been a whole year since I've been doing lives. So I just really kind of, picked that up. I just do it at my leisure. But to avoid missing me, when I go live, follow me on YouTube. I'm Halsey Allen on YouTube. And follow me on Twitter. I'm Halsey Allen on Twitter. And the reason why I want you to follow me on both of those platforms is because this platform that I'm on, it broadcasts automatically to those two platforms when I'm live. So when you follow me on YouTube, subscribe to my viewer channel, Halsey Allen. Click that notification bell. You'll never miss me when I'm live. And then on Twitter, I guess they got alerts on Twitter. I don't know. I don't have too many people following me on Twitter. But, I think you should get alerts if there's a setting for that for when I'm live on here. So you can go to your Twitter and see when I'm broadcasting live. And you will never miss a live edition of the Narrative Podcast. So for my projects, I'm working on tons of them. I got a whole bunch of stuff like near completion. Thank you guys for all the support, but what's completed right now is a book of poetry I've written titled The Black Card. And to purchase the Black Card, simply go online and visit the Poetizer bookstore on poetizer.com to purchase my book of poetry, The Black Card. The Black Card is about 30 pages of poems, 30 poems total. It's basically like a window into our culture, our experiences, positive and negative as a people. You can definitely relate to it, relatable, nice, smart, witty read, very creative, very intuitive. Do yourself the biggest, hugest favor. If you like poetry or you're looking to get into poetry, go to the Poetizer bookstore and pick up your copy of The Black Card today. So yeah, I write poetry. I'm super big into poetry. I got my own personal poetry blog titled Halsey's Poetry Corner, and Halsey's Poetry Corner is on blogger.com, and the address for that is www.mrhalseysblogs.com, and the way you support that is you just go to that link, www.mrhalseysblogs.com on blogger.com, and share a poem or all my poems from Halsey's Poetry Corner onto, your preferred platform, whatever you're most active on, whether it's Facebook, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's TikTok, Clubhouse, whatever, digital spot you occupy and you're active on, share a poem from Halsey's Poetry Corner to it, and that'll help your brother out immensely. And my tagline for Halsey's Poetry Corner is Halsey's Poetry Corner, poetry with a passion, poetry for all occasions, and when you read one of them, you will discover why. What else? I'm trying to think of something else. So yeah, did I do the poetry? Yeah, I did that. So that's it. Thanks for rocking with me this evening. That's it, and that's all. I'm looking over my notes, just trying to see if I got everything in order. I think I do. I think I covered all my bases. So I'm out of here, guys. Thanks for listening to the Narrator Podcast, sending you love, light, healing energy. Join me this weekend. Until next time, Halsey Allen and the Narrator Podcast signing off. And it's like that.
Listening to the Narrative Podcast with Halsey Allen. The Narrative Podcast is changing the narrative one episode at a time.